Today is Thursday, February the 18th, the day after Ash Wednesday, and we are on a Lenten journey together. As part of our Lenten season this year, our daily reflection will be centered on the reading of one particular book. This is a book that was written by the author Madeleine. Now, Madeleine was born in 1918 and she passed away in 2007. And she wrote over 45 books. She was described as an American author of imaginative juvenile literature that dealt with themes of conflict between good and evil. The very nature of God was a recurring theme, individual responsibility and family life. We will be reading over our Lenten season this year, Bright Evening Star, which is a look and a reflection at Jesus' incarnation. But the book that you probably are most familiar with that Madeleine wrote is one that she won a Newbery Award for, and that was called A Wrinkle in Time. I know I certainly have seen the newly made movie about that book. But we are going to focus on this little book, Bright Evening Star, as it is part autobiography and part theography. So we will hear much of Madeleine's life and her experiences, but also how she defines and describes God and her relationship to God. Each day I will be offering a short excerpt from the book, and we will follow one day after the other. So if you miss a day, don't worry. The readings will be posted on our website for you to go back and reflect on. We have gained permission from the publishers, who are very generous with some open licenses during this time of the pandemic. So we certainly thank them. And also Madeleine's family, who offered their blessing also to the reading of this lovely little book. So without further ado, I will begin with chapter 1, A Sky Full of Children. I walked out onto the deck of my cottage, looking up at the great river of the Milky Way flowing across the sky. A sliver of a moon hangs in the southwest, with the evening star gently in the curve. Evening. Evening of this day. Evening of the century. Evening of my own life. I look at the stars and wonder, how old is the universe? All kinds of estimates have been made, and as far as we can tell, not one is accurate. All we know is that once upon a time, or rather once before time, Christ called everything into being in a great breath of creativity. Waters, land, green growing things, birds and beasts, and finally, human creatures. The beginning, the Genesis, not in ordinary earth days. The Bible makes it quite clear that God's time is different from our time. 1,000 years for us is no more than the blink of an eye to God. But in God's good time, the universe came into being, opening up from a tiny flower of nothingness to great clouds of hydrogen gas to swirling galaxies. In God's good time came solar systems and planets, and ultimately this planet on which I stand on this autumn evening, as the earth makes its graceful dance around the sun. It takes one earth day, one earth night, to make a full turn, part of the intricate pattern of the universe. And God called it good, very good. A sky full of God's children, each galaxy, each star, each living creature, every particle and subatomic particle of creation, We are all children of the Maker. From a subatomic particle with a lifespan of a few seconds to a galaxy with a lifespan of billions of years, to us human creatures somewhere in the middle in size and age, we are made in God's image, male and female, and we are, as Christ promised us, God's children by adoption and grace. Children of God, made in God's image. How? Genesis gives no explanation, but we do know instinctively that it is not a physical image. God's explanation is to send Jesus, the incarnate one, God enfleshed. Don't try to explain the incarnation to me. It is further from being explainable than the furthest star in the furthest galaxy. It is love. God's limitless love enfleshed that love into the form of a human being, Jesus, the Christ, fully human and fully divine. Christ, the second person of the Trinity, Christ, the maker of the universe, or perhaps many universes, willingly and lovingly leaving all that power and coming to this poor, sin-filled planet to live with us for a few years to show us what we ought to be and could be. Christ came to us as Jesus of Nazareth, wholly human and wholly divine, to show us what it means to be made in God's image. Jesus, as Paul reminds us, was the firstborn of many brethren. I stand on the deck of my cottage, looking at a sky full of God's children, knowing that I am one of many brethren, and sistrins too, and that Jesus loves me. Jesus loves me, this I know, for the Bible tells me so. Bathed in this love, I go into the cottage and go to bed. Thank you for beginning this Lenten journey with us. Please join me each morning at 9 a.m., Monday through Friday, as we read this lovely little book, Bright Evening Star by Melinda L'Engle. Take care.